There's a seismic shift happening in crypto right now, and almost no one is talking about it. While the headlines scream about meme coins and market cycles, while the influencers chase hype and short-term pumps, there's a quiet revolution unfolding behind the scenes. A revolution led not by speculation but by infrastructure, by real-world adoption, by enterprise-grade technology built to scale and last. And at the center of that revolution is Hedera HBAR. Now, if you think this is just another altcoin trying to ride the wave, you couldn't be more wrong. This isn't a project begging for attention. This isn't a protocol praying for liquidity. Hedera is already being used by Fortune 500 giants. It's already secured partnerships with global institutions, including some of the most powerful names in tech, telecom, and finance. It's already embedded into digital public infrastructure, from Africa to Asia, with full support from government-backed agencies. And all of this is happening without the noise. No hype train, no TikTok shillers, no flashy moon boy predictions. Just cold, hard fundamentals. And here's what makes it even more wild. While Ethereum struggles with gas fees and congestion, while Solana fights downtime and centralization concerns, Hedera's network is quietly processing hundreds of millions of transactions at a fraction of the cost. With unmatched energy efficiency, military-grade security, and governance backed by a council of global titans like Google, IBM, Boeing, and more. Let that sink in. Hedera isn't fighting to join the crypto elite. It's building an entirely new foundation beneath it. And yet, most retail investors have no clue what's coming. So here's the deal. If you've been holding HBAR and wondering if it has a future, if you're looking for a long-term, high-conviction project with real-world traction, or if you simply want to be early, truly early, to the next wave of utility-based crypto dominance, then you need to watch this video until the very end. Because we're about to walk through the clearest, most undeniable proof yet that Hedera is not just a hidden gem. It is on a direct path to becoming a top 5 crypto project. Permanently. This isn't just another opinion piece. This is backed by facts, data, and developments that are actively reshaping the digital economy right now. So don't scroll past this like it's another thumbnail. Tap the like button, not for the algorithm, but to tell the platform you want more real research, not hype. Subscribe, because if you miss what's coming next, you're going to be hearing about it later. From the people who took action now. This is where real alpha lives. Let's dive in and break this wide open. The hidden blueprint behind Hedera's rise. Let's start with a hard truth. Most of what dominates the crypto conversation today. It's noise, hype cycles, trend chasing, a revolving door of projects built on borrowed time and borrowed narratives. But beneath the surface, far from the spotlight, a very different kind of movement has been unfolding, one that doesn't rely on meme momentum or cult-like followings. Hedera Hashgraph isn't chasing clout. It's building infrastructure. And not just any infrastructure, institutional-grade, regulation-aligned, enterprise-validated foundations that most projects can't even begin to replicate. While Twitter debated gas fees and NFT drama, Hedera was quietly onboarding some of the biggest names in global business. We're talking about a governing council made up of Fortune 500s and international giants. Names like Google, IBM, LG, Dell, Boeing, Nomura, Shinhan Bank, Standard Bank. Let's pause there. These aren't partners in name only. They sit on Hedera's governing council, each with equal voting rights, real operational influence, and long-term investment. This isn't a flashy endorsement. It's governance through credibility. Compare that to chains where one person controls 30% of the supply or where validators go offline every other week. And while we're at it, let's talk about the tech. Hedera doesn't run on traditional blockchain. It uses something far more efficient, the Hashgraph consensus mechanism, a distributed ledger built for speed, fairness, and mathematical finality. This isn't theoretical performance either. 10,000 plus TPS, transactions per second, not just in lab conditions, but in live environments. Finality in seconds. Fees consistently under $0.001. Carbon negative operations verified. While Ethereum still wrestles with layer 2 rollups, Hedera's base layer can handle enterprise-grade throughput without breaking a sweat. And that's not just appealing to crypto-native projects. It's attracting governments, financial institutions, corporations that need compliance, speed, and auditability, not dog memes. Here's the kicker. This entire structure, the governance, the technology, the partnerships, it wasn't built overnight. It's been years in the making. Hedera didn't chase virality. They chased viability. They built slowly, methodically, and with one goal in mind: to become the backbone of the next generation of digital infrastructure. So if you're only now hearing about HBAR and wondering, where did this come from? The answer is simple. It was never hiding. You just weren't paying attention. In the next part, we're going to explore what this foundation is enabling in the real world, from tokenized carbon markets to supply chain traceability to government-backed stablecoin pilots. Because Hedera isn't just designed to scale. It's already scaling. Let's keep going. The backbone of Hedera, the Governing Council. Let's pause and address something that separates serious long-term projects from the noise. Governance. In most of crypto, decentralization is thrown around like a buzzword. But when you scratch beneath the surface, you find centralized teams making all the decisions, shadowy whales pulling the strings, or DAOs that sound great on paper but barely function in reality. Hedera is different, dramatically different. At the heart of Hedera's trust and structure lies its Governing Council, a council that isn't made up of influencers, meme accounts, or unknown wallets. It's composed of world-renowned, billion-dollar companies and institutions from a wide range of industries and continents. We're talking about Google managing cloud infrastructure, IBM, a pioneer in enterprise blockchain, Boeing, global aviation leader, LG, consumer electronics titan, Dell, computing powerhouse, Deutsche Telekom, major European telecom operator, Standard Bank, Africa's largest bank, and over 25 other industry-leading organizations, all operating nodes on the Hedera network and actively participating in its technical roadmap and governance. This is not a sponsorship or loose affiliation. These aren't partners in name only. Each of these council members has skin in the game. They're responsible for running the network, making key decisions, and ensuring decentralization at the highest level. Here's what that really means. No single entity has control. Each council member gets one vote, no matter their size, region, or financial clout. Term limits are in place to prevent consolidation of power. Members rotate over time to bring in new perspectives. The council is geodiverse, industry diverse, and carefully curated to avoid central points of failure or manipulation. Governance decisions, such as software upgrades, coin economics, or strategic direction, are made through transparent, structured voting, not Discord polls or backroom deals. In a world where crypto headlines are filled with rug pulls, broken promises, and regulatory takedowns, the Governing Council gives Hedera what few projects have: institutional trust and credible longevity. And let's not overlook what this means for adoption. When these companies build on Hedera, whether it's supply chain logistics, tokenized assets, or carbon markets, they're not just experimenting. They're committing real capital, real data, and real infrastructure. That's how Hedera is quietly becoming the backbone of Web3, not by hype, but by architecture. So while other chains are struggling to scale, navigating lawsuits, or still figuring out how to decentralize post-launch, Hedera has had the blueprint from day one, and it's executing with surgical precision. This isn't decentralization for show. It's enterprise-grade governance by design. And that's why, if you care about long-term potential, network resilience, and adoption beyond retail speculation, you cannot ignore what's happening with this council. A governance council unlike any other in crypto. If you've been in crypto long enough, you know one of the biggest pain points is governance. Centralized projects get flack for control, and decentralized ones often spiral into chaos. But Hedera found the perfect middle ground. Hedera's governance model is one of the most unique and powerful in the space. Instead of being run by anonymous developers or profit-chasing whales, it's guided by a governing council of 39 global blue-chip organizations, each with equal say. We're talking Google, IBM, Boeing, LG, Deutsche Telekom, Standard Bank, and more, some of the most trusted names in enterprise and tech. These aren't just logos slapped on a white paper. They actively run nodes and shape the network's future direction. Every council member gets a limited term, no permanent seats, and no special treatment. This means decisions aren't dictated by ego or speculation. They're rooted in long-term sustainability, real-world use cases, and institutional-grade oversight. Ask yourself this: what other crypto project has governance backed by Fortune 500s? Ethereum doesn't. Solana doesn't. Even Bitcoin, for all its decentralization, doesn't have this kind of global institutional trust actively steering the ship. This governance model doesn't just lend credibility. It brings stability, scalability, and enterprise-grade trust to Hedera, the kind of trust that governments, banks, and global brands are willing to build on top of. And in a market still driven by hype, Hedera's playing a deeper game, building a platform that's ready for mass adoption from institutions who want results, not risk. So while others are pumping on headlines, Hedera is onboarding the world's biggest players behind the scenes. This isn't just innovative, it's unprecedented. The metrics that can't be ignored. Let's talk numbers. Not narratives. Not hype. Just raw, undeniable metrics, because at the end of the day, data doesn't lie. Hedera is currently processing over 1.2 billion transactions per month. That's not a projection. That's not a theoretical if this, then that scenario. It's happening now. That's more real-world throughput than Ethereum, Solana, and most other so-called Ethereum killers combined. And here's the kicker. It does all of this with near-zero fees and unmatched energy efficiency. We're talking fractions of a penny per transaction, with finality in just seconds. While Ethereum is still battling congestion and Solana faces reliability issues during spikes, Hedera's hashgraph consensus just keeps delivering. This isn't a layer 2 workaround. This isn't a temporary patch. This is native performance baked into the protocol's DNA. And it's not just speed and scale. Hedera is carbon negative by design, not as a marketing stunt, but as a fundamental principle. In an age where ESG concerns are becoming a core part of investment decisions, that's not just a nice feature, it's a strategic advantage. Meanwhile, while other projects spend millions trying to attract developers and use cases, Hedera is being integrated into real-world infrastructures, from health records and payments to supply chains and national identity systems. Governments and global corporations are choosing Hedera not because it's trendy, but because it works. And when you zoom out and look at what actually matters in the long term, adoption, utility, cost efficiency, security, Hedera doesn't just check the boxes. It redefines them. This is what makes the top 5 conversation real. Not because we hope it happens, but because the foundation is already laid. HBAR is no longer a speculative asset. It's a strategic one. And the smartest investors are starting to realize. This is where the next wave of serious capital is going. If you've made it this far, you're not here by accident. You're not here to chase hype or hop on the latest trending token with no fundamentals. You're here because you're searching for something different, clarity in a sea of noise. You're looking for signal, for direction, for substance. And that's exactly what you've just been given. You've seen the hard numbers, not speculation, metrics. You've seen a network quietly outperforming some of the biggest names in crypto without needing headlines to validate its worth. You've seen Hedera's transactional throughput, its unmatched energy efficiency, its governance structure backed by real-world giants, not anonymous validators. You've seen a future-proof infrastructure that isn't reliant on vaporware promises but is already solving problems at scale. Most projects are still talking about what they plan to do. Hedera is already doing it at scale with Fortune 500 companies and government-level adoption quietly running in the background. While others shout, HBAR builds. So now comes the decision point, the quiet moment where smart investors separate from the crowd. Are you going to be one of the few who acted early, when the data was clear but the noise was still louder? Or are you going to wait until it's on the front page of every finance site, when the price is 10x higher, the opportunity 90% gone, and all that's left is crumbs? Because let's be honest, by the time Hedera breaks into the mainstream narrative, it won't be under the radar anymore. It won't be misunderstood. It won't be cheap. The explosive upside, the asymmetric opportunity that makes portfolios, will already be behind those who had the foresight to see what this really is. And make no mistake, that foresight doesn't come from hype, it comes from research. From watching, analyzing, questioning, and finally acting. That's what this channel is about. Not shills. Not memes. Just deep dives, data, and directional conviction. The kind that helps you move ahead of the curve, not after it. So if you want more breakdowns like this, if you want to sharpen your edge, stay informed, and see the crypto market through a lens of clarity, subscribe. Turn on the bell so you don't miss a single insight. And send this to someone who still thinks Hedera is just another altcoin with a fancy logo and some vague promises. Because the reality is the window is narrow, but the opportunity is massive and it's unfolding now. You don't need a signal anymore. You just got the full map. Now it's up to you to move.